So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Eazy Conversations. Thanks a lot to everyone who listened to the last episode featuring the homie Matt and I. Hope you enjoyed listening to us give our in depth Marvel and DC products of 2025 breakdown. Looking forward to dissecting future products coming out down the road. Peacemaker Season 2 coming soon. It's now for episode 164 of Eazy Conversations. I'm extremely excited, of course, to be back in the studio virtually with the homie Matt. So what's up, the people?
What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great summer right now and enjoying it. I had really fun on the last episode, Eric, talking Marvel movies. It was a crazy episode. Today's episode, too, a little different than what we normally do. Not like movie or TV or music related. It could go any which way. I'm very excited to talk about this topic, Eric. Why don't you introduce it to the people?
Yeah, same here. So this is definitely something that we don't always do on the pod. Sometimes we get a little more. We talk about stuff that's relatable to everybody, real life, but still keep it light. This one may be a little more on the serious side, but I do think is an important topic to address, and we both have experience in this that we can share that will still be relatable for the people. So we're going to be talking about the power of advertising on really the generations as they grow up and how it influences their behaviors. Notably, where this idea came from, I'll just give a shout out to my guy Bobby Weatherman at work. He said his suggestion was to talk about how big conglomerates or companies out there have really been pushing gambling on all of us really as a society. Once sports gambling has been legalized in sports gambling has been legalized. So since that has happened, I want to say maybe 3-4 years ago or so, there's just been an abundance of every second commercial you're seeing Austin Matthews, Jamie Foxx, Aaron Paul. The list goes on and on, and that has led to a massive uptake. I don't have statistics to back this up, but I can imagine an uptake in gambling where you're going to a buddy's house to just watch a Sens versus Leafs game. Everybody's got some action. Like, all right, I got puck line Sens. Brady Kachuk over 4 shots. And this has trickled down to an even younger generation who maybe via using their older brother's account have made a gambling account because you have to be 18 and plus. And yeah, so basically this has led to a behavior where you're kind of creating addicts at a younger age. And yeah, what are your thoughts on that whole opening speech, Matt, on how gambling is kind of a seed to spark bad habits in a younger generation at a younger age?
You said a lot of great things there, Eric, and we can dissect each part. But the last thing you said is I totally agree with it. That basically when you were taught what you were saying there, I was thinking just the younger generation. They're so social, they're so tech savvy and like good at using their phones and that this is just gonna be it's gonna be so easy for these companies, these giant gambling companies, to get to the younger generation because it's so easy to do everything nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, it's easier to gamble and become an addict, and it hits the younger generation even harder because they're young and more like naive and don't have as much life experience, and it's so easy for them to do it. And this is not just with gambling, and we can go talk about that later. But the first thing you said, sports gambling becomes legal. Like, yes, it's good for the economy and stuff. Like, it creates people are spending more money. I mean, should they be spending it gambling? But I mean, it's legal. They're not hurting anybody but themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gambling is just if you have the means to do it. The $100 I spend on gambling might be the $100 I don't spend at the beer store, right, Eric? So who's to say that? To me, that there's nothing wrong with that. But you're right. We're getting flooded by so many like commercials and just me watching the Blue Jays, Eric. I see gambling in between. I don't even have like live TV, but I have Sportsnet app. I
Mm-hmm.
watch it through that, and they pump me full of gambling commercials. Ourselves, Eric, we have a little, like, grown up as millennials, right? We have a little bit more discipline, in my opinion, because
Mm-hmm.
we weren't super exposed to those things as kids. Like, we didn't have social media. We just had whatever we saw on TV. But yes, you're right. The younger generation, to me, everything's more accessible to them through their phone. There's never been more advertising in general. You go on
Mm-hmm.
any social media, right? It's crazy. Um, I think gambling too is looked at like the rewards are so great. Like just talking about gambling in general, like you're making money. That's like one of the greatest feelings in the world.
Of
Like the
course.
high you must get. I mean, I've been to the casino. I've won money there. It's an amazing high.
Yeah.
Um, Super dangerous too, right? Like losing. If you hate losing more than you love winning, you shouldn't be gambling.
Mm,
That is why I don't gamble, Eric, because I hate losing more than I love winning. So
right.
um, I don't know. I don't want to ramble off too long. Do you agree with me? Like the kids these days, it's so easy for them to do anything, and gambling being one of them, just with all the social media and technology at their disposal.
100%. And that's one of the biggest differences, I think, from when, like you said, we grew up at a time where technology was really just on the upswing and not even it was a mere fraction of what it's where it's at these days. So for us, I feel like just to touch on our experience versus theirs these days where they have an abundance of options for different addictions there, which we'll get into a few of them later. We really just had like I remember growing up where gambling was never even a thought of mine because it wasn't really seen anywhere. If anything, it was just seen as something that you shouldn't do because it was illegal, but was something that was aspired to when you turned 18 to go to Casino Lac Lemay. Like that was kind of the big like, oh, I'm 18 now. This is a thing I
Yeah,
can do. But was never for me anyways, was never something that was like, oh, I can't wait to turn 18 to go to the casino kind of thing. But
yeah,
I'm sure that was still a way of thinking for people our age. Like I don't want to make it seem like our generation never aspired to gamble. I don't think that's accurate at all. But it wasn't really as prominent as it is now where like we've both said it's everywhere now, right? So just the
yeah,
fact that it was a little more hidden and maybe if you were hanging around a different crowd you'd get exposed to it. Now it doesn't matter what crowd you're hanging out with.
hmm
You're a nerd, a jock, a stoner, whatever the people in 21 Jump Street are that Jonah Hill can't even identify are, like you're seeing it, right? So
yeah,
that I think is a big difference right there. It's visibility. So
yeah,
yes, them having everything at the tip of their phones, their fingertips on their phones, I mean, is the biggest difference between us
hmm
and them,
hmm
and the fact that at our time you couldn't really do sports gambling. And I'll just say, like personally, I'm not a huge gambler myself. Have I sprinkled a half a unit on Sanderson and Ridley Gregg to score in the same game, and they both did, and was I fired up that I made a bunch of money? Of course, but that's not really the point. The point is that if you do it in moderation, I feel like it's fine. You don't want to be
exactly.
throwing down like in the like I don't know. I've never made like a three-figure bet personally, and going above that would be crazy in my opinion. But you see some people putting down four, five,
Yeah,
taking out a mortgage on their house. Like that stuff to me is crazy.
yeah,
But I feel like you build those habits up. The earlier you're exposed to it, you gain a stronger tolerance for it, right? Like with anything else, the earlier you start drinking, smoking, you just need more and more. And betting $5 on Lane Hudson to win the Calder Trophy, it doesn't hit the same. You have to put down $100 kind of thing. So that
yeah,
that is where the true danger lies for me is that the earlier you're exposed to it, the greater the potential is that you're going to become a, as they call, degenerate. That's the biggest worry of mine with the
hmm
exposure factor
yeah,
these days compared to us. Like for us, we
yeah,
can go and hey, I've at our cousin Madelise's wedding, like we went to the casino, put 20
that's right.
bucks down on roulette or whatever. We know how to walk away because it's just a fun little rare treat for us kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well,
yeah, that's it.
yeah. Overexposure on anything will make you used to it, and then the novelty of oh my god, I'm gonna lose. Like it's harder to walk away from it. You said a lot of good stuff. When we were kids, we had to put an effort to go gambling if we wanted to. You
Yes.
honestly like have to. Even back in the day, you had to like know a bookie or something to do
Yo.
serious betting on like let's say NFL or the Super Bowl. I've heard stories from old timers where I work. You have to put in effort. Um, Now you just open an app on your phone. We have an app for everything these days, guys, and it's
Mm-hmm.
great in some respects, but in other respects, there's 100 gambling apps, and it's super easy to put your credit card on there and lose money. I have people that I work with, Eric, that are much older than you and I, that are like addicting to gambling because of all these. They're big sports people, and now they just bet all the time on these. Like they make good money, but they also spend a lot of money which is another debate of like, even if you make a lot of money, if you're spending a lot, you're not rich at all, and you can be a degenerate just as easily, even if you're making a lot of money. The kids nowadays. So I've never downloaded I don't have any gambling app. I've never done it, Eric, with like the new apps. And it's not that it scares me, but what scares me is honestly, maybe when I download this app, it's gonna be so easy for me to understand and use, and I think that's what's dangerous. So easy to use, right, and understand. And I don't think it would take me long to figure out and be like, yeah, why not spend $10 to $50 a week? Well, maybe not a week, but why not spend a bit of the money I made, bonus money I made out, like my extra overtime income?
Yeah.
Why not put a bit of it? Maybe I'll make more money. Maybe I'll be ahead. It's not just the gambling on sports betting. It's the gambling on, there's slot games on your apps. There's online casinos. There's ones where you're just, like, I've seen all variations there. They're not just doing sports betting. But anyways, very easy to do in different variations. Some of them are games even. Like, guess what time the rocket's going to, like, stop flying. And if you cash out at the right moment, you'll maximize, like, your $5 bet. Anyways,
I remember that.
So dangerous. Kids love their apps, right? Love their games. And now companies are very smart, right? Hook them young, and they'll be, a degenerate or a gambler for life. Not all gamblers, I think, become degenerates. Only, like, the ones that start losing and then, like, the hope that I'm going to win everything back. Very dangerous. Yeah, tell me about your experience with the betting apps, Eric. Like, they're very, on the app itself, it's not, like, promoting, like, do they do a good job at, like, oh, these are the dangers of gambling? Still gamble, but, like, don't go crazy. Are they good at that or not?
No, they're like, go crazy. They don't tell you to not go crazy. They're going the opposite route here. But obviously there's a disclaimer that says, like, yes, but who reads disclaimers, right? It's a long paragraph written in minuscule font that you need a goddamn telescope to read everything in there. So... No, like they might be saying like, hey, bet responsibly. I feel like that is said. I feel like they have a legal obligation to do so, but they want you spending money. And like you said, you've made a great point about how they make it attractive with the games. I've done the rocket ship game. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I typically like to steer away from, like, a slot machine does absolutely nothing for me. That's just pure luck, and you're just praying that one of these little, like a rocket ship again, shows up in a diagonal line. I don't even understand it. I'm like, oh, I won 70 cents here, kind of thing. So those don't do much for me. I go for, if I'll bet, really, what I used to do was football, like anytime touchdown score. So if someone to get a touchdown, win a bit of money. And those were decent because there aren't that many options in a football game, right? Now, I don't want to make this like a promoting gambling pod, but at the same time, like, I'm not going to not talk about my experiences. So it would be like, choose a wide receiver to get a touchdown or whatever. Would do that. And then on the hockey side, which I'm obviously more knowledgeable on, would be the same thing, anytime goal scorer. So pick someone to score in a game. I've done that. Picking guys to win awards at the end of the year, just a few, and Stanley Cup picks. So I had picked last year Dallas to win the Cup. The year before I had the Oilers to win the Cup, so that was it was right there. I thought they were going to win when they came back from down 0-3. I thought I was already counting my money. Which I feel like when you make a bet that early, I made that bet in like September. When you make a bet that early, your odds should be astronomical, and the payout would have been like, I don't know, $300 on a $20 bet. I feel like it should be way more than that personally, but I digress. So those are kind of the ones I do. I did throw like a couple because I do have some money still in my account. The thing is now, I don't want to put any more money in I have a FanDuel account. I don't want to put more money in because I've cashed out like the Sanderson Ridley Gregg bet. That was a good payout that I am up on the app. So from that, I left a bit of money still, and I just kind of used that up. And they do, again, this is another thing they do to get you back in. They hand out credits too. Like, here's a $20, a free 20, but you need to win the bet. You can't cash out a free 20, basically. You need to make a bet with that money and then win, and then it becomes your money. So they have all these promotional tactics to opt into a bet, free $5, You get a free spin on roulette this day, kind of thing. So it's all these
Okay.
tactics that they have to make people like me who say, I'm not putting more money in. Like, are you sure about that? Here's a free spin, $5, make another bet,
Right.
kind of thing. So they know what they're doing. But yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of my betting experience. But
Okay.
I I made a few preseason bets about guys winning awards this year, but I'm gonna keep it at that. Not really, like I don't want to be betting every single hockey game,
Mhm.
watching, right. Like I enjoy watching games, and then I have the stress of my fantasy players getting me goals. I don't want to add the stress of I need this guy to score as well, kind of thing. So that's kind of
That
it.
that's that segues beautifully, Eric, to the next point I want to bring up, which I'm going to tell a little story of a coworker who bet a lot of money on a Super Bowl one year for the Raiders to win the Super Bowl. This was back in the day. He said he bet half of like what he made that summer, and he said it was he hated watching the game. It was the most stressful game he's ever watched. He didn't enjoy a minute of it, and the Raiders won, and he won the money.
Oh,
But
there
he
we
said
go.
that, yeah, I'm not doing that again. Which you just talked about it. Like when you're betting on something, are you even enjoying the game as much, or are you stressed out the whole time? Yes, I too get that fantasy hockey stress sometimes, but it's not stress. It's not like I want my guys to do well.
Yeah.
I think, which I've never bet on a sports game ever in my life, but like, well, other than like a buddy, like a $20 bill or whatever, but just for fun. But like, I don't think I enjoyed it as much, Eric. So is what you just said, you're more stressed out watching it. You're not enjoying it, so that's another reason not to do it, right? Like
Yeah, exactly.
it's really not fun to watch. If you have $1,000 on a game, oh my god, I'd be like Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems at the end, like just flipping out, right?
Exactly.
So that's yeah. So I don't think we need to touch on that. You just said that it is stressful. Um, my second point, okay, online casinos, they're huge right now. To me, like in my opinion, I've never done that, but like wouldn't that take all the fun away from doing the thing? Like driving to the casino, having a meal, going to the tables, playing it. Yes, I realize half the tables at the casino too now are digital and have a screen in front of you, and you don't even have to talk to a blackjack dealer if you want to play blackjack. You just play it on the screen at the casino, which is stupid, in my opinion. But to me, that takes all the fun away. It's like, I enjoy going to the theater and watching the movie, not always watching it at home. I enjoy going to the place and doing it. Like, yeah, I'm sure I can set up a virtual golf in my garage one day on a projector, but I like going and doing the real thing out there. Same with the online casino, I'm thinking, right, Eric? Like, do you think kids these days are not going to care as much about stuff like that, and they're going to be like, online casino's fine by me. I don't have to talk to anybody. I don't have to drive anywhere. Or do you think that's going to be more of a trend with the Gen Z right now, and like the Zoomers or whatever that gen's called? Like, yeah, what are your thoughts on that, Eric?
100%. I think we're gonna have like a 20-year lull where all these institutions that we kind of grew up with, aspiring to go to when we turned 18, or going to see Finding Nemo in theaters or what have you, they're gonna take a hit. But then the next generation, it's gonna be retro again, and it's all gonna come back.
Okay.
Like going to the casino is gonna be the it thing to do, right? Be in person, dress up again, and yeah, because it is a fun outing to go like every few years or so. Just like you bump into people, it's a cool atmosphere. You kind of feel like you're in The Hangover, kind of thing, right? Just like
Yeah.
feel like this is my chance to rob this place blind. And for me, like again, I've said it already, but the appeal of playing these games on a screen just does not hit the same for me. And I also feel like I have a lesser chance of winning. I feel like it's more rigged online, whereas in person I feel like it's a human I'm dealing with, but those people are machines also. They can cut an ace at any time of the day, right? So they have I honestly think it's a lose-lose to gamble, because the house always wins, but I'd rather lose to the house in person than at home, just like on a rainy
Yeah.
Sunday at 10 a.m. like a loser. I'd rather be out at 9 p.m. in Monte Carlo than here. And anyways, so yeah, that's kind of my take on in person versus online. I think it is a generation thing, though. I do agree that I think most kids these days are more comfortable behind their screens. Um, and again, that call comes back to power of advertising has kind of molded them to be this way.
Well said, Eric.
Yeah.
And And kids these days, imagine putting your credit card on an app, losing $1,000. You're not necessarily going to see it, and it's not going to sink in right away. As opposed to you and I are going to the like ATM at the casino, taking out $1,000,
Yeah.
slapping it on the table, playing with the chip, like slowly losing that. And we're like, oh my god, this hurts. Like I saw my hundreds, my C notes getting exchanged for chips, and me losing those chips in a hand at blackjack instantly. Like that's gonna hurt, and we're gonna be like, holy frick! Like what did we just do? As opposed to like, oh, it's all on my credit card. I'll pay off the minimum. I'll be fine. I'll be good for next time. Super dangerous way of getting in debt. And I think kids these days maybe are more unaware of, are not going to care as much if they're in debt, or they're not going to be as like, they're not going to know the repercussions or how bad it is to, have a bad credit score and all that stuff. Maybe less educated on the subject.
They're just like,
Again, we're not generalizing. I just want to say we're not saying they're all like that. We're just saying most will be like, or some of them, which is dangerous. Go ahead, Eric.
yeah, they're like, I just lost 17 Doge coins. I'll be all right. But
but that's the thing. That's another way of getting it. Like,
yeah,
like having a different currency for sure. No, absolutely. Using cash will, like, any purchase will hurt. That's something else we can talk about later. Just spending money is so much easier these days with everything on your phone or your iWatch or your cards. You're not. It's not going to hurt as much than spending cash. But okay, back to what you said, Eric, about the generations. I like that. I never heard you say that. Like the theory of like the lull, and then the kind of like the, we'll have, how some of us are nostalgic for the 80s. There's going to be people nostalgic for like the just before, like maybe the 90s or early 2000s. I like that a lot. I hope that happens, because then we're going to be old and watching all these movies that pay tribute to that time, and I'm going to love that. So can't wait to see that. It kind of makes sense though, like that's what's going to happen, right? Because it's like a lull, and then like, oh, we love look what our parents or grandparents had. We kind of want to go back to that retro era, right? So freaking love that theory, Eric.
And then they're gonna romanticize COVID, where no one wanted to talk to people. Like, I miss those days too. It's always just how it is, right? It's everything hindsight 2020, right? Pun intended. So we'll see where that goes, but yeah. But no, and just quickly on like I just made the Dogecoin joke, but all this cryptocurrency stuff, like I'm really not informed and unaware of the cryptocurrency game, but that's another way of making money seem appealing, where it's like, oh, look at this new way of making money with this art too that people are investing in, like NFTs. That took off because people thought the art was cool. So it all comes down to how these companies are pushing these attractive seemingly things. But also I want to say overall, like, have those not gone down in value with time, where everyone thought it was the next big thing, or the ones who invested? And I feel comfortable guessing that most of them were on the younger side. I don't think many boomers risked it all on the monkey or whatever it's called there. So yeah.
Anytime there's like digital currency and even stock trading and all that stuff is super dangerous, because for every winner out there, every person that cashes out their stock at the right time, there's always a loser, right? It's like called like the common fool theory or the common idiot theory, something like that if you Google it, where there's all like, it's so dangerous, and for every winner there's a lot of losers at the same time, and it banks on the fact that people are going to keep investing in this thing and make it grow. Like Bitcoin is still growing. That's one of them that like survived. And if you had bought one when it came out, now one Bitcoin is worth like in the 5 figures, I bet you, or maybe almost 6. Like, it's crazy. So some of them do work, but for every Bitcoin, there's 1,000 failed Bitcoin-esque ideas, right? And back to our original point of the episode was because of the power of advertising. It's suckering in all these younger generation and more naive people that maybe grew up with a phone at an early age. So like they read or believe everything they see on it, perhaps, or it's just so easy for them to do. We're like, yeah, we'll try it out. Whereas we, Eric, it would have been super hard to get into that stuff at an early age for us, because we didn't have it. We only had it like maybe you in high school, myself in university, and you're kind of already guarded against like, all right, don't believe everything technology is gonna say. We're millennials, so we've had like that. We've had both things happen. We saw the internet come into our lives, but not like it was in our lives right away. So
Yeah.
we're kind of a special generation in that sense. Um, but yeah, they're just more susceptible to this, right? They're more susceptible to the power of advertising, and I think we're a little bit more guarded. But we still fall victim, Eric, right? But just not to the extreme degree as younger teenagers or younger adults nowadays.
Mm-hmm. So, speaking of advertising and just kind of switching gears a little, but still falls in the same realm and different generations. So, for us, when we were growing up, there weren't many options if you were someone who wanted to partake in the nicotine inhaling game. It was death sticks, cigarettes.
That's true.
That was kind of it. And that was advertised as something that was harmful but also appealing in the sense where this is what the cool kids are doing, or maybe a little more like closer to our parents'
For sure.
age at that time. Now, these days, smoking, it's rare if you find young kids smoking cigs. They're like, that's like, whoa, cut from an old school cloth. I don't know what's wrong with this person, but they've got some demons. Now, the uptake has been in the vaping game, which presents itself in a bunch of different shapes and
Mm-hmm.
sizes, colors, flavors, and
Mm-hmm.
the air quote advantages of vaping is that it's something that you could do inside. It does not smell, and it tastes good depending on the flavor
Mm-hmm.
that you get.
Mm-hmm.
So kids are getting into it possibly even younger than the ones who start smoking. Like when I was in high school, I can think of a handful of people who smoked cigarettes in grade 7, 8, 9. That was probably when
Mm-hmm.
they would start. Now, I feel like kids are vaping by the majority almost in those
Mm-hmm.
grades as well. If not majority, much more of them are smoking or vaping compared to the ones who are smoking in our age groups. I feel like that's fair to say.
Yeah.
And I think that's a terrible problem because there's so much unknown about the vaping game where it is a new technology and you're inhaling like microplastics and stuff too, right? So that's a scary thought where who knows what everyone who got hooked hard early on vapes looks like in 15, 20, 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a really cool topic, Eric. In terms of there's a lot to dissect. Yeah, like just going back to my experience in high school, there were a handful of smokers. They were looked at to honestly as like the cool kids
Mm.
because I think smoking was made cool by movie media, like movies and TV shows. Freaking watching Mad Men and watching older movies, like
Mm.
it was cool to see. But cigarettes do smell pretty like they smell awful, and it was harder to obtain back then and like get them.
Right.
So limited by that. Now a whole world has opened up with these vape pens and vape devices, and they do smell delicious and makes me want to eat candy right away or something when I smell it. And but it's more appealing to kids because of that taste and smell, like you said, and you can do it more. It's more discreet, right, than smoking.
Yeah.
Smoking, your clothes will smell all day, right? You know that kid smoked early on. Now it's more appealing. And yes, kids, Eric, I can confirm, are definitely smoking or vaping early at an earlier age,
Yeah.
just from my experiences with, talking to my girlfriend's sister who's in grade 9, and
Mm.
when she went through grade 7 and 8, stuff like kids like have their vape. Parents catch their vape at like confiscate their vape devices all the time, and I don't know who's bringing these to school and distributing them, but they're probably like raking in the dough, right? Like
Yeah.
they're probably making a lot of money. I've never been to like a vape shop seeing all the variety, but I'm guessing, Eric, there's a million different variety like flavors compared to just like cigarettes where they're pretty much all the same. I've never really smoked. I've never
Menthol.
smoked a cigarette. I don't know the different like different companies have different tastes, but I know that vaping world of flavors. Like Willy Wonka's candy shop of flavors. Um, to me, vaping, I don't mind vaping in the sense that if you want to do it, that's fine. But I just have a problem with when they're targeting, like they're encouraging kids to smoke, or they want people to be hooked right away so that they're vapors for life.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a story as old as time. Like cigarette companies probably targeted the youth back in the day when
For
cigarette
sure.
ads were allowed. Um, I mean, if you're a company, a big like giant business like you mentioned at the beginning, Eric, isn't that the smartest thing to do? Like get them while they're young, and then they'll be a customer for life.
Yeah.
Be it food, drinks, vaping, gambling, all that stuff. I know they're not allowed to advertise to under 18-year-olds, but like you can do it in subtle ways. A lot of stuff's more legal nowadays too, right, Eric? In terms of like for young adults, I mean, very easy to go into a store and have different products, be it vaping, weed,
Yeah.
edibles, all that stuff. So we've never lived in a time where there's been more variety, but that also means variety of vices, right? And
Well said.
it's easier to have a vice nowadays than back in the day, and there's more variety and choices to choose from. And then kids see us, the young adults, like kids see the young adults do that, and they're like, oh, I want to freaking vape too and do
Yeah.
that. So it's dangerous, but I think like a smart kid will find his way out of it, and a degenerate kid will always like go back to some, even like he'll always find a way to smoke a cigarette or do drugs, legal or not legal. So, but yeah, vaping, I don't know much about it, and like, is it, it's all about like the flavor, like it's a really intense flavor. I've never vaped myself. I just want to say that right now. I don't know if I should try one day just so I know what it's all about, but I don't know the feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it depends. There's a bunch of different flavors and stuff. Like, I don't do that anymore. Like, I have, of course, and yeah, like that's the problem, right? Like, it's like you take some and it's like you just want more because it tastes so
Right.
good. And like another, I would say, appeal to it is that with it you can blow like massive smoke clouds, and there's something like oddly satisfying about that. But at the end of the day, like there's a lot of nicotine in there and it is addictive, so that's where like there's a bunch of different ways that it's getting you. It's like the flavor tastes good, the smoke effect, like you feel cool.
Yeah.
All these things are just not good things overall.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of where for like a younger kid that will always trump a cigarette, where now I don't think smoking cigarettes, like it is the cool thing to do. It's vaping, it's overtaken it.
Okay.
And it is interesting how you also said about um, stuff is more accessible now too. Like there used to be a massive stigma about weed because also it was illegal. Now it's legal. I feel like it's kind of,
Right.
I don't know if glorified is the correct term, but if someone says like, yeah, I smoke weed for like to relax or to go to sleep, it helps me with this pain, blah 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 blah. No one bats an eye about that anymore.
Exactly.
Vaping, kind of, there is some judge. It depends on who you're talking to. I feel like if you're younger, it's like if you're not vaping, you're whoa, like you're a loser kind of thing. You're not in the mix with the cool kids. Whereas that was also kind of a thing for weed too. Like the stoners had a cool appeal to them as well. High school at my time though, like the 7 or 8 people who I referenced earlier who smoked cigarettes, I don't think they were really considered cool. It was kind of like, yeah, the smoker's pit over there. Like it's disgusting basically. Whereas again, you're not getting that with vape. It's like, oh, it smells delicious over there. Let's go hang out there. So I feel like that's how
Good point.
a vapor's circle would be bigger than a cigarette smoker's circle. So it has all these things working in its favor, but are they good things? As with cigarettes, definitely not. So, yeah, it's the how it's being promoted is working well for the companies and poorly for the kids. I also do think that vaping is more popular with kids than with adults. I think it's kind of your gateway maybe to cigarettes. If you're a younger kid, smoke it's seeing adults smoke, like grown adults smoke vapes. It looks a little odd, I find. I'm just used to seeing more. It's like younger kids doing it, so
It's true.
I feel like you graduate onto the cigarette, but neither are good for you, of course. So yeah, I would not get onto the vape game, Matt. It's not a
No.
not a good thing
I'm past
to
that.
do. Yeah.
I will agree with you though, like blowing a puff of like a cloud of smoke or vape or whatever, like it is cool. Just because I think like being a movie person, seeing all that, there is a certain appeal. Like I've smoked cigars, cigarillos, weed. I've blown smoke out of my mouth, and like it's a cool feeling. I'm not gonna lie. It's you got like fire in your hands, and and I think it's cool because of all the movies and shows I've watched. Honestly, seeing my favorite actors do it, there's definitely an appeal to it. But then you get the taste in your mouth and like, all right, it's not like coughing a lung out. Goes away pretty fast. But no, I definitely agree with you, Eric. It is cool. Like it'd be cool, especially a high schooler having a vape pen and blowing that vape. Like you're the coolest kid in the like in that grade and that vape circle too. Like, I don't know. Did you want to talk about? Did you want to go more the? You mentioned weed, but I don't think ads target kids as much. There's not a lot of weed ads. Did you want to talk more about like more stuff, advertisement on your phone from social media, Eric, or did you want to hit? I don't know. There's so many different ways we could go. Power of advertising, like through like a Snapchat, TikTok, like the Discords.
Okay.
Basically,
Go ahead.
yeah. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, I was just gonna
No,
say
I feel like
I'll just add
go
one
ahead.
last thing on this on the smoking topic.
Okay.
Cigarettes, disgusting. Like you don't. That's a taste you don't want waking up to in your mouth the next day.
Okay.
That's just another thing I would recommend to not do. Like I've only smoked like a handful of. I've already said it on the pod. They're like drunk cigs, of course, and waking up the next day, it's just like you think waking up from like a lot of drinks or beers still have that residue in your mouth. Like so add cigs on top of that, and it's a nasty
Yeah.
combination.
Right.
So like I don't know. I just don't see the appeal at all. But that's just me. But yeah, the other thing that I had like suggested as a kind of topic for this would be like social media advertisement. How trends start now. It's all through your phone. TikTok being the most
Mm-hmm.
not I don't know if it's dangerous really there, but that's
I
how
think.
people are getting access to what everyone's doing. And for like these trends for us, I feel like we didn't have as much access to what the quote unquote cool things were. Like for I'm just trying to think of when we were younger, it was like the hair flip at the front, like the faux hawk kind of thing. There's
Mm-hmm.
always been trends. It's not really a
Yeah.
new
Yeah. Yeah.
thing, but now it just catches like wildfire and you can't ignore it because everyone's on their phones. And if you're not following that trend, I feel like you can be ostracized or just
Yes.
outcasted easily, which is how by some I don't even know how this is beyond me. The broccoli haircut blew up. I think it was all through TikTok, right? Where there's a few maybe California kids who had this look, and everyone's like curling their hairs to look like this. It's crazy, but everyone's on this app, and that's how trends are starting. And are they for the
That's right.
best? I don't think so because then you're thinking to yourself like, oh, I don't look like this. I'm maybe unattractive or I'm not cool. All these things that can get into the psyche of a kid and affects how they think and act. Not great. So I think TikTok, like, the states almost banned TikTok. I want to say last year, early this year. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
they should have. Who knows? But yeah, so that's another thing where you can get addicted to social media and then the downslide that can lead you down.
Yeah, I fear that you said a lot of great stuff there, Eric. I fear to me that like your status on social media, the amount of followers and or attention you garner on there, in is a direct result of your or will influence your status in real life at the school. Let's take a high school setting.
Yeah.
I think the more popular you are at your high school is because you're popular on social media, and that's my fear that like kids will take the idea of how do I become more popular on social media? Oh, maybe I'll do these new trends. Well, guess what? Some of these trends on TikTok, they're hot. Like it could be a sexualized trend. It could be something like taboo like that where you shouldn't be doing that at that age. Because Frank, I've been on Instagram and TikTok. I know what some of the Instagram models like. They want to become famous on. They want to be an Instagram model and stuff. And I'm just scared that like teenagers these days are going to see adult content like on Instagram and TikTok and be like, oh, I want to be popular too. I don't think that's what's happening. I know that's probably already happening. It's just the world we live in. It's so dangerous. I mean, I saw the beginning of that when the internet, high speed internet started coming out. And we had that in high school, like not on our phones. We had it on our desktops at home, but like already it was like very dangerous. But now I can't even imagine with you could literally have it in in during break at school, right? in the common room. You have it on your phone. You're doing a trend. You want to do a TikTok dance. It leaves a really bad taste in my mouth, in my opinion, because like you're only popular because you're popular on social media. What do you freaking do? You have 10,000 followers. Half of them could be people from around the world you'll never meet.
Mm-hmm.
Half of them could be full-blown adults that are following a teenager's account, which is sickening.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous. And I think, but social media pushes all that stuff right in your face. They advertise all this stuff. We had an episode on this, right, Eric? All these social media apps are fighting for your attention, the social dilemma. Very dangerous in my opinion. Snapchat, that thing scares me. I don't really use Snapchat anymore. Like, the fact that like you can open pictures from random people and like it's unexpected. I don't know. That leaves a bad taste in my mouth, Eric. What are your thoughts on this whole high school popularity by social media thing?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel like it should just be how you are in person rather than the facade and character that you've built up behind your phone. Where I also wonder how these people who maybe are popping on IG and then in person, like how are they even behaving with others? Is it inflating their ego? Are they awkward in person because like they don't know how to act with all these people who want their attention because it's been gained all online? Like these are all things that I don't have the answer to, but could play factors in how people interact with one another down the road. And again, it's like, are these people aspiring to be, whatever, so an influencer, or do they want to be doctors, lawyers, all the things that we were told are the high professions and the stuff that are contributing to society and all that fun stuff, right? So that is also scary in its own right. But yeah, I don't love that, and you're losing good people skills, social skills, and all that stuff. So those are big losses due to the gain, I guess, of social media, technology, all that. I think abolishing social media networks would be the best way to go. Honestly, I don't think that's possible at this point. It's led to like it's also entertainment at the end of the day, right? Like it's now a new form of people don't watch shows or movies; they just watch reels, they watch YouTube videos, all that stuff. Which is like, hey, however you get your entertainment, that's fine. But I do think there is a darkness to that as well. But at the same time, those shows and movies also push certain images that you're like, oh, I want to look like this person, kind of thing. I want, comparing yourself to these actors who this has been around forever. It's not a new thing, but yeah. But for the popularity aspect, like I don't like it, and should just be like back in case. So at my primary school, it was basically if you're athletic, you were popular. Basically, that was kind of the big thing. If you could run track, you were the man. And it kind of was the same thing in high school as well. It was like the guys who played the competitive hockey. Like right away, you have that edge above everyone else. It wasn't. Yeah, social media. You still wanted to have as many friends on Facebook. Like Instagram wasn't a thing when I was in high school, but it didn't really determine your status. Really, how many friends you had on Facebook. I don't even know if kids at high school now even have Facebook. It's all Instagram. I don't know, or TikTok. But so yeah, that's kind of it on that for me.
Yeah, Facebook came out when I was in high school, and everyone got on it. Nowadays, it doesn't exist in high schools nowadays. I can confirm that with my personal experience. It's all about Snapchat. Even Instagram now it's Snapchat and TikTok and Discord, I guess, for the gamers and people online gaming. But you said a lot of good things. Yes, it was always there, Eric, but it's never been so easy to do it now. And the jocks are no longer the kings of the school. It's the people that have the 5-figure followers on their social media, which is scary. And you said so many things, Eric. I should be writing stuff down to bring back up to you, to bring to a counterpoint. But I honestly agree with everything you've said. There's not. I think a lot of people listening right now are going to agree too. It's kind of scary that so I just remembered like I have a lot of people that work where I have a lot of coworkers that are newer and they're in their younger 20s now, and it's weird seeing. I know I wasn't like that when I was 20 years old,
Mm-hmm.
but they're behaving in a different way that I'm not used to. I know they grew up through COVID in their high school days, which kind of screwed them up socially. That's a whole different. That could be an episode by itself, but
Right.
they're like kind of behaving a lot like social media, like in the sense that like the terms they use, the verbiage, the brain rot words as they nowadays. Like I'm seeing that at my workplace, like a super blue collar, like work with your hands place, and it's kind of makes me think, hey, those 20-year-olds are going to be the new 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds one day, and then the new 20-year-olds are going to be even worse. Am I going to be that 60-year-old ready to retire at my workplace being like, oh my God, who am I working with right now? They're a bunch of softies. They don't know what, they've never been disciplined, put into time out. They live on social media. Am I going to be on my phone, like struggling to use it because everything's going to be more complicated and they're going to be wizards at it? Am I going to be that old boomer that they're going to call? Stuff like that's running through my head already right now. It's kind of funny. Do you ever have those thoughts, Eric?
That's 100% gonna happen though. Like I feel like that every generation has dealt with that, and it. I do think, like I said earlier, I think there needs to be at some point a mild return to form, if you will, and maybe every generation thinks exactly like this about their generation. Like, hey, it was better when I was a kid, when I was younger. We should be more like this. So I don't think this is anything groundbreaking, me thinking this way, but I do think that we have lost a few things down the line. Don't want to go, obviously, don't want to go back to how it used to be in terms of like demographics, oppression, and the those bad ways that were more prevalent back in the day. But I do think that we can't have a society that's all run by people who are tech wizards and leaning heavily on AI, machines, not being able to converse. Like if we, because again, at the end of the day, if we lose that ability to relate to one another, connect, sense of community, we'll lose our humanity, and then what do we even have at that point, right? So I don't think that's possible. I don't think we'll end up like in these sci-fi movies where everything's so just detached and no emotions, and like we're kind of like
Right.
cyborgs out there. But I think just relearning those skills that may have been lost due to the like, how things were in COVID, those 3 4 years. At the end of the day, like it was just a few years. Like we also
Yeah.
can't blame like exactly. Anyway, I don't want to speak on how people's experiences were in COVID there. So, but again, I do think it's fair to say that we need to have a bit of a return to form, but not an extreme one. And yeah, but for me at work, like I definitely see it with some younger people, the way they talk. Like there's always that new slang, right, that I'm not up to date with, but I'm still on the younger side overall with the people
Okay.
that I deal with. So and maybe it's me saying these weird expressions. Like I don't know what this Zoomer's talking about. Over. I'm like I'm a millennial, not a Zoomer. But
Okay. I have a
anyways,
question for you, Eric.
yeah, hit me.
I got a question for you. You said something really good. The generation's always thinking that when they were young, that was like the time to live in. They romanticize
Mm-hmm.
the era they grew up in. Is that just because, though, because we were kids during that time, and being a kid, we look back at as the best time of our lives, no job, no responsibility? That must be the reason why everybody says that about their generation. Do you agree with that statement, or?
Yeah, to a certain degree, I do. Yeah, because what I'm describing, where we didn't really have the technology, we were kids, and yeah, we were just running around, not indoors, playing games outside. For sure, that was a simpler time, a lot of fun. Like just we're always on a high. I don't recall many, if any, lows at those times, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
like obviously you have a lot of different stresses as an adult and more responsibility. So for sure a factor. Yeah, because yeah, at this point in time right now we're living in the time that I'm saying is how the kids act these days. I don't love, so I'm just comparing myself as a kid to the kids these days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I do think you're right. Um, that is a good point. Yeah, didn't think of it that way, but
Yeah,
right.
like everyone says it was the best of times. in the 80s, but that's because you were a kid in the 80s. I'm going to say the best times were the 90s because I was below 10 years old in the 90s, right? It, is it because we had the best movies and because we had the best pop culture? Or is it just because I was a kid and everything is awesome as a kid? You know, I had Lego and toys and played outside. Or will a kid from the 50s be like, or someone born in the 50s be like, yeah, the 50s were awesome? No, but it's only because you were a kid and you played every day outside.
Right.
You know, so. But I'm sure some people are like, no, it was tough in the 60s or we had this. But would you really remember it because you were just a kid, right?
Yeah.
That's that whole Midnight in Paris effect from that movie with Owen Wilson where he wants to go back. He actually does go back in time, then only to find out that people in that time actually want to go back in time to 30 years ago, and then the people there want to go back in time. Like we always romanticize the older generations. Which last point would be, in 30 years, are we gonna are the kids gonna look back at this time as the golden age, right? Are the 2020s gonna be the golden age for the people born, you know, in the 2010s? Or, I mean, probably to them, right, Eric? What are your thoughts on that?
For sure. I feel like
Yeah.
on some level, always think it was better back then. I don't know
Right.
if it has to do with the technology that has advanced, right? Like you just look at abundance has its perks, but also maybe its downside and its bad side to it, I
Yeah.
guess. But I feel like that's a factor. Simplicity is king, is queen. Yeah, I mean,
Going back to a simpler time. Yes, you're
yeah,
right. Because this will be a simpler time compared to 30 years from now when
exactly.
there's even more social media
Oh, yeah,
apps and advertising everywhere. Like it could be like one of those movies where we have the hologram advertisings in 30 years where everywhere we walk there'll be hollow stuff, you know, hollow
yeah.
images, which exists in movies. I don't know if that's going to happen in real life. Movies don't always predict everything perfectly. Um, but it'd be interesting to see if this right now is a simpler time compared to what we're going to have in 30, 40 years. That's pretty, to me, it's scary because you and I are used to even simpler times from the early
Yeah.
2000s, right? So
Speaking
that's a
of,
crazy thought right there. Yeah.
speaking of simpler times and just like technology advancements, all that stuff. The last like few weeks, I've actually gotten back on that horse that I haven't really used in years is my bicycle, and I've been riding around
Okay.
like to go like to Freshco for like a few things here and there, and actually bike to the library, which is like 10-minute bike ride, 5-minute car ride over there. And I've just been had a smile on my face the whole time biking for a lot of reasons, and I feel like one of them is it brings me back to the simpler time when I was a kid. Like that was my mode of transportation. If you wanted to go
Yeah.
somewhere, that's what I did. And funnily enough, on the way back from the library, I crossed this kid. It was like straight out of a movie almost, where I'm 31, had my bike helmet on, backpack, books in it, and this kid, no helmet, ripping down an electric scooter, not even working up a sweat. Just like, if that's not the disparity
That's
between
awesome.
generations, I don't know what is. So it was. I actually wrote that down. I was gonna say this, and this was the perfect time for it. So yeah, it's pretty funny, and also just another point on like the helmet, where as you go through stages in life, when you're young on a bike, you have the training wheels. Obviously, your parents are helping you.
Yeah.
You've got the helmet on, and then you get to a certain age where this kid, I don't even know how old he was, like 12 to 14 range. You get to that range, you're like, I'm ditching the helmet. Like I want to fit in. I want to be with the
Yep.
cool kids or whatever. But then you get to you cross the nexus point and you realize like I need my helmet if I want to live. So you just put your helmet back on and
Exactly.
you dismiss the notion of look cool versus safety first.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
cyclical.
That's a great. I'm picturing this. You cross like that image of you crossing the kid on the scooter. That's worth 1,000 words right there. That's like that could be in like a magazine. Like this is what's going on right now in the world. I love that, Eric.
It
I should
was
get on my bike too. I don't even have a bicycle, but honestly, it's a great idea. Maybe I'll look into it for next year. bike around my. It's a good workout too, right? It's good exercise. Forget like trying to feel nostalgic again. It's healthy. And you have a lot of stuff near you, right, Eric? Like the library. You can have a
Exactly.
couple grocery items. You don't have to carry through like groceries on your bike, but just for the fun stuff.
It was like me
I
crossing
love
that
that.
kid was like Avon Barksdale crossing paths with Lance Reddick in The Wire, and he was just looking at me with the finger like.
Oh, I love that. Uh,
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, that's kind of all I had like off the top and prepared really for like advertising different generations. Is there anything else that you want to go over on this topic? I could like it's a million ways we could
honestly,
go.
I was gonna say if I keep talking more, we're just gonna talk for another hour on this, and maybe we can save it for another episode
Yeah.
because we kind of deep dive on a couple things, but we also like teased a couple other subjects. But I
Yeah.
think we talked about it enough, Eric, and we should
Yeah.
maybe on a more lighthearted note recommend some movie, TV
Yep.
shows,
No,
music,
I
stuff
like
for the
that.
people. I think.
Okay. I like that.
Go ahead, Eric.
Sure. So I'll go with a reverse recommendation to start us off here. You may know
Oh,
where I'm going based on
yes, I
the
do.
review that I gave. Happy Gilmore 2. Just a garbage movie. like, I've had conversations with people about this, and I kind of feel bad where they tell me, I loved it or it was good. And I don't want to like just bash them into submission for genuinely enjoying it. So I just go like, yeah, you know what? It had its moments, which is not a lie. Like it actually did have a few good bits that I enjoyed. Like I wrote in my review, Scotty Scheffler I found was really funny. I liked all of the actual PGA and live golfers that they had in the movie. I wish we would have had more with them though, because I found their interactions in there were pretty funny. Bad Bunny, he was pretty funny. The Will Zalatoris being the caddy who grew up bit was gold because people have always said that he looks like the caddy from Happy Gilmore, so they really played into that bit. Those are the things I can think of off the top that I enjoyed. Overall, though, like it was really disappointing in that I didn't think Adam Sandler really brought it. It was kind of a lazy movie that truly just leaned into over the top cameos that like Margaret Qualley, like love her as an actress, but like what are we doing here? That whole bit of them on the golf course was so over the top that I found it just annoying and it dragged on for so long. Travis
Yeah,
Kelsey, too much of him in the movie, even though he was really in it for
yeah,
one scene. They just kept inserting him in there. Wasn't about it. Eminem, not I didn't find him that funny to be honest. I don't know, like Huel Babineau from Breaking Bad for some reason, like they needed the guy's son to be in there. I don't know, like it just
yeah.
did not do it for me. And then the end with like the maxi golf, the competition.
Terrible.
I wish it had
Yeah.
actually been a golf match, and they used
Mhm.
the live golfers to be the maxi golfers, which obviously that's the comparison they're making. But yeah, wasn't a fan of that at all. And you obviously know Happy's gonna win at the end, so there's no suspense there. That's kind of my thoughts on Happy Gilmore 2. Even I don't think it's worthwhile for someone who even enjoyed Happy Gilmore 1, which I do. Disappointing letdown of a sequel, honestly. What are your thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, it was the first thing I wrote down. A reverse recommend Happy Gilmore 2. I'm a very generous rater, guys. Like I like most movies I watch. This I couldn't give more than 2.5 stars because I did chuckle a couple times. But man, this movie was terrible. The only reason I was watchable was Adam Sandler. I like the original Happy Gilmore. It was fun going back to that world, I guess, for a bit. But I agree with everything you said, Eric. Storyline was terrible. I felt like it was a movie just built around cameos for 2 hours.
Yeah,
That was the biggest sin in this movie now that I mention it. Way too freaking long and dragged.
yeah,
And the whole golf thing was terrible. It was a mockery of golf. Having that raised platform where
yeah,
you can like tilt up your ball to go in, that was terrible. Like this movie had no business being this long and have so many cameos. Why are you building your movie around these 79 cameos? It's terrible. I didn't enjoy seeing the golfers interact, the old golfers and new golf. Like that was kind of funny to
yeah.
see. Yeah, terrible movie, Eric. When I read your review, I was like, all right. And then I watched the movie and I'm like, oh my God, you hit the nail on the head. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
reverse recommendation for sure. Very disappointing. Most Netflix originals are not really solid movies at all, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah. I'll just go quickly with my next movie. 28 years later, I watched it, really enjoyed it.
Nice.
Solid entry into what, like, no, it's not a spoiler, but they've already announced there's going to be a second one and then maybe a third one, depending on how much money they make. But, like, I really enjoyed this as an intro to a new trilogy. Yes, is it super fast-paced? And, like, no, is it super fast? It's not super fast-paced, but gory. I kind of like the father-son dynamic and the mother, and I'm not going to give away the end. I did like the climax with with an actor we all know and love.
Yeah.
Yeah, solid movie, solid horror movie. That's all I'm going to say. 20 years later, very happy with it.
Okay, nice. I thought it was pretty solid. Like, I wanted a bit more out of like the ultimately where the story went. When there's like I guess rupture in the group, didn't love that because then you're losing a cool character. Like I wish that wouldn't have happened. And then there's a bit of a letdown for me with what happens to one of the characters at the end. But you're right.
Okay.
Looking at it as the start of a new trilogy, it does set up for nice world building and characters' journey going forward. That was some good stuff there for sure. It was missing too for me, like the score, like I can't really hum it right now there, but it's gold. So, but no, I'll definitely check out the Bone Temple. I believe is the next movie, but yeah, I still think like the first one's the best one. 28 Days Later, for sure.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So nice. Next one for me, I'll recommend is The Naked Gun. So with Liam Neeson as Frank Drebin Jr. Fantastic in this. Honestly, this is a movie that does not overextend its welcome. Comes in at like an hour and 20 minutes. A joke a minute, essentially. Non-stop slapstick comedy that really paid homage to the original. And it's crazy how Liam Neeson does a really good job at matching Leslie Nielsen's vibe as Frank Drebin, and Pamela Anderson I found was hilarious too, as she does a great job as the his girl basically. So really good stuff. A few other actors you'll recognize in there, and yeah, like I said, they did a really good job capturing that 80s comedic vibe, and it was so fun to go see a comedy movie in theaters with pretty packed, honestly, with a group of friends laughing together. Elevated the experience. I haven't had that in years, so it was a really good time. I would recommend going to see it in the theaters if you can, just to laugh with a group of people, but you can't go wrong with just watching it, however. So yeah, definitely recommend The Naked Gun. Great comedy.
I'm super glad to hear that, Eric. I was going to ask you about your theater experience, but you just answered that. Everyone I've spoken to who've seen the movie, who has watched it, has thought it was hilarious and loved it. So yes, do I have high expectations now? Yes, but I know exactly what to expect, and I can't wait to watch it. I haven't yet, obviously, but very looking forward to it, Eric.
Nice.
I heard it read like a joke, like maybe someone's like, oh my God, every 40 seconds or so there's like a joke or. Love that. Love to hear that.
Yeah.
And just Liam Neeson, Leslie Nielsen, just that like the actors' names are similar.
True. Yeah.
Just like that's genius, and that's not even like that's just for like the advertising of the movie. So I think that's pretty brilliant. Directed by one of the guys from The Lonely Island,
Akiva Schaffer.
That's right. Yeah, cool. Awesome. I'm gonna recommend one more movie, Eric. This one kind of blew me away, and it's directed by Mike Flanagan, but it's not a horror movie.
Okay.
Strangely enough, it's called The Life of Chuck with Tom Hiddleston, among other actors. Mark Hamill's in the movie; he's great. There's a bunch of other actors you'll recognize. A lot of them from Mike Flanagan movies and stuff, and his shows. But The Life of Chuck, very hard to describe the movie, Eric. It's adapted from a Stephen King short story. It's a movie told in 3 acts, starting with Act 3, and then Act 2, and then Act 1. It's very... Oh, the movie is very emotional. It's a drama. It's also, like, well-written and kind of funny in some parts. And it's all about life and how people interact in different situations. And I have a very hard time describing the movie. All I'm going to say is I recommend it highly because it kind of sort of blew me away a little bit in its originality and the way it showed things happening. Nothing we haven't seen before, but the way it was presented was kind of unique and new and fresh. So that's why I recommend the movie. Had a really cool, like, artistic, stylistic flair to it. So that's The Life of Chuck with Tom Hiddleston, directed by Mike Flanagan, who's never missed, in my opinion. And this is no exception. It's really good. 4 stars.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I know. I've heard of this movie, knew nothing about it, and now I know only slightly a little more about it. But it's something to look out for sure. I like the cryptic description, and yeah, I'm 4 stars. So that's a stamp of approval if I've ever seen one. So I didn't know Tom Hiddleston and Mark Hamill were in this. Like, I'd only seen people were watching it a while back on Letterboxd, so I'll check that out at some point. Is it streaming anywhere or no?
No, not for free. I watched it, like, illegally.
Of course,
But it's going to
theme
come
of
out
the
by the end of the
episode.
year somewhere.
Nice.
No, I know.
All right, right
I
on.
don't. I mean, I'm unapologetic about that now.
Yeah. I mean, you can
Listen,
just
I
say
don't
I
like.
watched it online. You don't need to throw in the I
I
word
know.
in there, but
Keep all this into it.
yeah,
This is great.
oh, big time.
Whatever. Yeah, that's it for my movies, Eric.
Okay, nice. So I'll recommend a book that I devoured. It was very good.
Ooh.
Definitely recommend. It's being turned into a movie actually next year.
Okay.
The latest installment from Suzanne Collins' World, The Sunrise on the Reaping. So the latest Hunger Games novel, which is the prequel for the Hamish Abernathy Hunger Games that he participates in. And of course, this isn't a spoiler unless you've never heard of the Hunger Games, wins. So,
Right.
really good book, honestly. I think this movie also will be an improvement on The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, just based on the cast, the tighter story as well. Where have you seen The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, Matt?
Honestly, no. It's
Okay.
I kind of slept on that. Like, I haven't watched it yet.
I
But
thought it
I
was
know of it. I know, like, the story.
I thought it was okay. The problem I found with that movie especially is that it's ambitious. Like, we're covering a lot of time, and there's a Hunger Games within it. Then there's the aftermath, and then some, which, like, that's a good hour and a bit. Whereas this one really focuses on Hamish's games, and then there's a bit of an epilogue, of course, and his dealing with everything that happens in there. But the main focus of the games, and for me, that's the fun part about this world, is it's such a unique concept where, and this is also a quarter quell, so there's 48 participants in this game.
Cool.
So we're spending a lot of time in the arena, seeing him navigate in there. A lot of good characters, old and new, where you're going to see names like Plutarch Heavensby, who's going to be played by Jesse Plemons, actually. Dynamite
Brilliant.
casting. So just based on the casting for these characters who we've seen in Catching Fire, just them being a little younger, I'm really excited to see Ralph Fiennes as President Snow. So we're going to see some cool stuff in here, and I think it's going to set the stage for sympathy for Hamish, also seeing what he's gone through in life, his upbringing, how he became who we see in Hunger Games was cool. Like I said, I destroyed this book like really quickly, so definitely recommend Sunrise on the Reaping book, and then keep an eye out for the movie next year.
Yeah, I want to read the book. I'd want to read the book first, honestly, because I read the 3 Hunger Game books, then watched the movie.
Yeah.
After watching the first movie, read all 3 books. But cool universe. There's only the 2 books after the original trilogy, correct, Eric?
Yeah, I hope they give us another book. Like, I don't know if you want to keep going with prequel for another character. Like, a Plutarch book could be interesting. Another thing that they could do would be like the development of the rebellion in like District 13 and stuff, right? Because we're introduced to District 13, it's already established. It'd be cool to see all the like a Rogue One kind of style where it's all random characters really. Maybe you get like Plutarch would have to be involved, and then President is it Gray, the one who like played by Julianne Moore? Is that her name? I forget.
Coin.
Coin, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
she'd be like maybe her as a young Jin Urso,
Right.
if you will. Coins are
Ah.
built on hope, and
That's good.
so
No, I haven't
that
delved
could
into
be
the
something.
prequels, but
Yeah,
I'm interested. I want to watch. I should watch the Ballads of
yeah. Like the
Song.
guy who played Snow was really good, and Rachel Ziegler as Lucy Gray Baird was solid. Like they're definitely
Okay.
running the show, and then there was what's her face Viola Davis was in there as well. Peter Dinklage.
Okay.
So I had a couple of good
Solid
actors
cast.
in there. Yeah.
I find like I'm not gonna always. Right now, I'm so focused on watching my Blue Jays tear up their division and win that like I have less time for movies and TV shows. I've been keeping busy with other stuff too. Like I love to, like I want to watch that Alien Earth
Mm.
show on Disney
Yeah.
Plus. Right now, like the only show I've been watching, guys, is Wednesday. So I
Oh,
watched
nice.
the first half of the Wednesday. It was solid,
Okay.
super easy to watch.
Good.
You can watch it in like 4 hours, like just binge it. Or you can. What I recommend doing here is just wait for the next half to
Okay.
come out next month and just watch it all. Because now it's like, okay, I gotta wait again. But you know what? You inspired me. You were talking about a book you just read, so I will talk about this
It's
trilogy I just
cool.
finished and similar themes to Hunger Games, which is why I'm gonna bring it up now. This trilogy is it's a young adults trilogy. It's about rebellion and revenge, but in a galactic empire setting where Earth, the Moon, Mars, Venus, Mercury, all the planets have been colonized by a galactic society, and this society dominates by classifying everybody in different colors, and their
Mm.
colors represent their classes. If you're a gold, you're the top, you're the kings, you're the rulers. If you're a silver, you're just below gold. If you're a blue, your blues are like technicians and pilots. Red represents like slave and laborers.
Mm.
Anyways, every color in society represents a different function of things to do. So this trilogy, that's the world that exists in it. The book is called Red Rising.
Oh yeah.
So it's called the Red Rising trilogy. And I've read the first three and I'm on the fourth one now. So it's no longer a trilogy, but like now there's going to be 6 books at least. But I read the first three, Eric, and I kind of binge read them. They're very entertaining, easy to read books. Again, just a revenge story at the end of the day. You start off with our main character who's the lowest rung of society, and then it's a revenge story. I'm not gonna
Okay.
talk about the plot or the characters, just to say that it's a sci-fi book in a galactic empire setting with lasers and very similar to Star Wars. We'll say spaceship. There's a
Okay.
lot of spaceship fights in space. Anyways, very similar to Hunger Games though in that respect, right? Where it's post-apocalyptic in the sense that like a ruling society and oppression and rebellion. I really recommend this series, guys. Page turners, a lot of action, not a lot of like long ass descriptions. They're very easy books to read, probably just like the Hunger Game books, like the new ones you've read, Eric. I lent these books to my mom right away too, and she loved them as well. She read them even quicker than me, but I mean, she's retired; she could just spend all day reading.
Exactly.
But I recommend the Red Rising trilogy by author Pierce Brown.
Okay.
You see them everywhere in chapters and any bookstore. And I used to see them for years, and then finally a coworker mentioned the book just quickly and what the plot was about, and I'm like, shit, that's a cool setting. I'm gonna start reading it. So Red Rising,
Might have to
really
swing
really
over.
fun book.
I might have to swing over there after your mom is done with all of them and borrow these. 'Cause this sounds like right up my alley. Really interesting. I've definitely heard that name Red Rising before, and yeah, I'm definitely interested. If you don't mind, if I could borrow them, like I would scoop them up in a heartbeat. Or the library, if you want to hold on, or if you promise them to other people, I'll respectfully
No,
bow
no,
out. But
I'm on the fourth one, so the
okay,
first three are available.
okay,
Yeah.
I just might have to if that's cool. But no, that sounds super interesting. Like I'm be all ears and eyes for that.
Yeah, that's all I got for movies and TV, and
Okay.
Yeah, that's.
Book.
Do you have anything else?
Yeah, so I had one thing I actually forgot to mention for our
Okay.
advertising conversation as well. It's also is a recommendation, reverse recommendation. It's a
Mm.
warning out there for I guess this drink called Feel Free, which is like an addicting. I've never heard of this, but I just saw it. Andy sent it to me on Instagram the other day, and it's a drink that kind of makes you feel good and is kind of like a precursor, I guess, to alcohol and just like
Oh.
a feel woozy drink, but it's targeted for kids. So it's something that,
Oh my
again,
god.
it also it fits in our conversation where this is something that's just advertised freely as like, hey, drink this, you'll feel good, and it kind of creates addicts out of younger kids. So
Mm.
it's a warning out there for parents listening. Feel free, not good, and not as I guess it's sold still in like gas stations and supplement shops. So being promoted as something that is okay, but can lead you down a dark path. So again, it's just power of advertising. If we've said it once, we've said it a
Yeah.
thousand times. Be careful and inform yourselves on what is out there and you're putting in your body. So yeah,
I never heard of this till now, Eric. So thanks for bringing that up. That's terrible.
scary.
Yeah, definitely very topical to what we were saying. Like very pertinent to our
Yeah.
conversation. What is
Um,
going on in the world?
Yeah, big time.
Oh,
On the flip
God.
side of that, though, for like healthy supplements, I've been getting into the fermentation game. So we talked about
Oh.
pickling a few episodes ago for the food.
Mhm.
Now it's pickling is out, fermenting is in. Obviously, more labor intensive, and you need more precision in how you're putting together like your pickles in a jar with brine that is just water and salt. You're weighing stuff, making sure everything's submerged under a water line in a mason jar, burping as required so the oxygen doesn't build up and your glass explodes, or the CO2, I mean.
Oh.
So, learning a lot about that. When we do our next possible food episode, could speak more on that. But I have had some mishaps, I guess, where the mold grew, the batches were tarnished, had to throw them out. Couldn't get the fermentation weight out of the glass, all that. Have had one success though, fermented red cabbage, apples, and carrots all in the same jar. Tastes really good, honestly, and has a lot of healthy probiotics, good gut friendly food, and yeah, just like a nice topping. I've put it on like a little breakfast sandwich I made, just a charcuterie board on the side, throw it in the salad, nice little snack even. So you have to do some research on it for sure, but it's not the hardest thing to do. You just have to be on top of it, and I've enjoyed it. I'm looking. Hopefully, this next batch of pickles that we've got in the jars does work, and can let you know how that goes in a few weeks from now for sure.
All right. I know nothing about this, so I can't wait to hear more on a later episode. Or that's awesome.
We got red
Any food
rising,
experimentation.
and CO2 rising in the mason jars. So it's good stuff. Yeah, no, that's all I got for today. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, me too.
great convo, Matt. Hope you all nodded along or objected profusely at some things we were saying. Create dialogues. Reach out to us if you had some dissenting or opinions in sync with us. And yeah, Matt, any final notes for the listeners?
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Like you said, Eric, let us know if you agree or disagree. Especially if you disagree, I'd love to hear that. And yeah, just thank you, everybody who listens to the podcast. Really appreciate it. Hope you're enjoying summer right now. And yeah, thank you for listening to the podcast.
Yeah, well said, Matt. So yeah, thanks a lot, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned for episodes dropping every 2 Mondays. Continue to enjoy the rest of your summer. And yeah, peace.